Hey guys, welcome back to the Music Hole. My name is Cole, and today we're going to 1999 to talk about one of the most interesting sounding indie rock bands that I've ever heard, which is Dismemberment Plan. And this is Emergency and I. It's an incredibly diverse album. I mean, for an indie rock band to sound this creative and diverse is pretty out of this world. Every single song has its own sound. It's really inspiring. But I will say it's kind of an inconsistent album. There are some weaker songs here and there that bring the score down for me. But I do recommend it. It's a very cool album. So anyway, I'm excited to share my thoughts with you guys. So let's start with track 1, which is called A Life of Possibilities.
You dig down underground now, through the soul, through the cooling clay, as the din fades above you, you move and you secret, you know it, it's all good. And our hearts lead you onwards, and our signs point you on your way. You're just up in all directions, it's endless, it's mapless, no compass, no North Star.
Yeah, I mean, my goodness, you can already hear just how different this band sounds from any other indie rock band, really. And, you know, even the singer stands out, which is always a plus. But I like what he's talking about here. It's a very positive message. You know, don't funnel yourself in terms of your life. Like, don't approach your life in such a way where you think to yourself, oh, I can't do that because I'm expected to only do this, right? You want to expand the range of possibilities for how your life can go, right? Just because you're a straight white male from, you know, a small town in America, that doesn't mean you have to listen to country music, right? Would be like one very minor example of that. You know, because a lot of people, they choose a certain life path because of what their family expects of them, what their community expects of them, what their religion expects of them, what their family or what their friends expect of them, right? Because of all these expectations, they kind of limit their range of possibilities. So he's trying to break out of that mold, is what it sounds like, and just approach life in a very neutral state. He wants to experience the rainbow that is life, right? So I like the song quite a bit. I like the message. But anyway, let's move along to track 2, which is called Memory Machine.
There are times I think eternal life ain't such a bad gig. Smoke all you want into the plants if and only if they find a way to cure the longing. A distant panic someday, I'm telling you, they'll make a memory machine that's ours to wind and sheen to wash away. Someday, I'm telling you, they'll make a memory machine that's ours to wind and sheen to wash away. There are folks that think to have us.
So there are a couple things that really interest me about this song philosophically. You know, the first thing is the obvious thing, which is the memory machine, where basically you keep all of your happiest memories intact, but you delete all the bad ones, all of the things causing you grief, right? Which I don't know if that'll ever be a thing, probably not. But imagine your life right now, you're, I don't know, like me, 34 years old. Imagine your life without any of your bad memories, I mean, how would it impact you? I mean, just think about that. Just go deep for a moment and just imagine what it would be like to live without having any regrets. I can't even fathom that. But anyway, so that's one thing about this song. That's kind of cool to think about. But I also think about the living forever part, which he kind of imagines would be a nice thing because you get to see the planets, you get to do whatever you want, smoke all the weed you want, do all the drugs you want because you won't ever die, right? And you'll live long enough for space travel and you'll get to explore the universe. However, well, of course, if everyone else is also immortal, then that's probably fine. You know, if it was just you, then you would be very, very sad because you'd have all of these friends and lovers dying that you would miss tremendously, except for the memory machine, which would erase that. But anyway, so let's just assume that everybody lives forever. You live forever. Everyone you know lives forever. Well, even if that's the case, the universe doesn't live forever. The universe is essentially going to inevitably collapse and all of the stars are going to burn out and it's going to become extremely cold. There's going to be the heat death of the universe. So even though you're living forever, you're still going to experience a very bad ending on cosmic scales here. So, you know, I'm assuming he's not going that deep, but let me just bring some bad news to him. But anyway, so it's a cool song. I like it. Again, it's a very different sound from the first song, which is really cool, and I appreciate that. Let's talk about track 3, though, which is next, which is the hit single off the album. It's definitely an alt-rock classic. It's called What Do You Want Me to Say?
I lost my membership card to the human race, so don't forget the face, cause I know that I do belong here. Go down the checklist, let's see if feelings are good. Dishonesty is bad, and keeping inside is worse still. You want a problem? Well, I guess we got one now, but really don't know how. The season's over every goddamn hell. What do you want me to say? What do you want me to do? To let you know that I do mean it. What do you want me to say? What do you want me to do? To let you know that I do mean it. What do you want me to say? Yeah.
Yeah, I just imagine like a sociopath, psychopath character who just is basically only out for themselves, right? I mean, they identify feelings and emotions that other people, you know, are experiencing, but they don't really care themselves. They don't really feel much. They kind of just do what they want to do, right? And it sounds bizarre from, you know, most people's perspective, but these people exist, right? They just kind of go through life. They have no empathy, really. So they just kind of do whatever they want. You know, these tend to be people who crave power, or at the very least are capable of having a lot of power, because it's easy to get power when you don't really care about how you get it, right? I mean, I imagine a lot of dictators really could care less about their constituents, so to speak. So anyway, I can sort of identify with this character a little bit, and by that I mean, in my own life, I'm kind of numb. I kind of exist in this state where I don't really feel super sad, or I don't really feel super happy. I'm just kind of there. I just kind of exist, you know. I mean, that sounds really depressing, and it is somewhat. But basically, you know, I'm kind of at a point in my life where, like, it takes a lot to really make me feel like super happy or super, or like to make me laugh a lot. You know, I've seen so much and I've done so many things, You know, I've listened to so much music, I've watched so many movies that I'm just kind of like, I've kind of seen it all. You know, like nothing really surprises me. So like on that level, I identify with him in the sense that like, you know, I'm supposed to laugh at this show, or I'm supposed to be awed by this guitar playing, or I'm supposed to feel great when I hear like a dubstep beat at a club or whatever it is. But I just kind of like, yeah, whatever, you know. So anyway, I appreciate this song making me think about the unfortunate reality for all you sociopaths out there who hopefully aren't murdering people. But anyway, yeah, so that's probably the best track on the album. It's at least the most memorable. But let's move along. Let's talk about track 4, which is called Spider in the Snow.
Than bad memories is no memories at all. From the age of 20 to 22, I had 5 friends, none of whose names I can recall. And as I would walk down K Street to some temping job, as winter froze life out of fall. Yeah, I must have been having a ball, yeah.
Wow. So this song really hit home for me. When he says, the only thing worse than bad memories are no memories at all. And I'm really feeling this in COVID land these days because pretty much every day is blending into the next, right? I wake up, I do pre-production on my videos. You know, I listen to my albums. I try to figure out how do I want to rate them? What do I want to talk about? You know, what clips of the songs do I want to play for you guys? And I'm really excited to do this for you, but you know, every day is kind of blending into the next. And it's especially hard these days. I mean, at least pre-COVID, I could go and like, I don't know, go to the casino and play poker, or I could go to a bar and shoot some pool, or I could, you know, go to like some sort of community experience, you know, like a dance lesson or whatever it is, or go bouldering at the gym, whatever it is. You know, there's so many more options available pre-COVID. So nowadays, it's a lot of TV and video games and listening to music and going to my coffee shops and having like minimal contact with people. So like, you know, I appreciate now that I was able to do all those things pre-COVID that I can't do now. So even though like I wasn't necessarily feeling like playing pool or playing poker all the time, the fact that I used to be able to do that, even if there are some bad memories attached to those experiences, like let's say losing money at poker, or trying to hit on a girl at a bar and coming off like an idiot or something, which are some bad memories, I guess. At least I was able to do them. So I like what he's talking about. It's good to create memories that are unique, even if they're bad, than it is to just do the same old day in, day out. So I appreciate this song. But anyway, let's move on. Let's talk about track 5, which is called The Jitters.
Knowing means what they say, and you can tell as clear as deep sea fish, all internal organs and glowing eyes. I've been good, I've been busy, I've realized my friends' true intentions cut all ties. Been doing 10,000 push-ups a day. Plastic cube filled with pus that sits atop my supervisor's desk. The feeling of ice on the inside of the wrist. Always tired, need a nap. I have to make myself brush my teeth. I made a list of everything I've ever promised. When the days bring nothing new, and the sound of laughter makes you sick and snide, you know you've got the jitters.
Yeah, my goodness, this guy is having a rough time. I mean, basically, he has just really internalized a lot of the BS in society and you know, like social life, because he says that he's realized his friend's true intentions and he's, you know, dropped them basically. And he's talking about the fact that like nobody is really themselves, nobody really acts like themselves when they talk to other people, unless they're like a really close friend, unless they're like a lover, right? Most people are putting on a front, they're putting on a mask, they're trying to come off a certain way because they expect something from you, right? I remember living in Los Angeles, and there's definitely a thing in Los Angeles where there are a lot of people who would try to be your friend because they kind of assume you can help them out. You know what I mean? Like, they weren't trying to be your friend because you're a cool person. They're trying to be your friend because maybe you can help them get a job, or maybe you know somebody for whatever reason who's like good at video editing, or who works in the movie industry, or whatever it is. You know somebody that can help them, or you can help them. You know, so the character on this song is just totally full, he's just totally done with the BS in society, which is, by the way, not a good thing, because you just kind of have to accept it. You kind of have to accept the way things go. Otherwise, you're going to end up like this guy who's just miserable and alone and hates everything, right? It sounds like he's one of those like incels or something from the internet. I don't know. But anyway, so that's the jitters. This poor guy, he's got the jitters. Well, let's move on. We're going to skip a few songs and go to track 8 and talk about Gyroscope.
She's wearing too much lipstick tonight. A little black dress a little too tight. Tries to make small talk but it drips with spikes. She knows how it's coming and it's really alright. Nobody here could know how she feels. Not getting drunk and she hates wearing heels. Tries to stand but the room seems to bend and reel. Her friends all keep asking why can't she just steal. If she's as fast enough then maybe the broken pieces of her heart will stay together, but ain't a gyroscope can spin forever. If she's as fast enough then maybe the broken pieces of her heart will stay together, but ain't a gyroscope can spin forever.
Yeah, this poor woman, I mean, I can totally identify with her, right? It sounds like she's fresh out of a relationship. They just broke up. Her heart is torn into bits, torn into pieces, but she's got to go out and find someone new. And it sounds like she's been with this guy for a really long time, so she's totally forgotten what it's like to go to a bar and try to get hit on, and hopefully the guy isn't a jerk, and you know, hopefully they last or whatever. It's such a nightmare, the whole thing. And, you know, plus the fact that she's got to like put on makeup again and wear a tight dress and wear high heels, all the stuff she hates doing, right? Just to hopefully look sexy enough for somebody to hit on her, you know. And of course, she's back in the situation where, you know, it's all first appearances, you know, because that's all basically you have to go off. when it comes to someone new is what they look like, right? Do they look cute or handsome or sexy or whatever? You have no idea what they're like. You have no idea what their personality is like. You know, maybe you have good chemistry, maybe you don't. Maybe you think they're sexy, but if you start talking to them, maybe they're a jerk or they sound stupid or something's off, right? So this poor woman, she's back out in the dating world and she hates it, you know, and she's just desperately hoping to find someone as fast as possible, you know, all while her heart is just totally torn in two and she's probably, you know, crying herself to sleep at night, the poor thing. But anyway, so that's Gyroscope. Let's move along to track 9, which is called The City.
The street lamps, the ghosts of graffiti, they couldn't quite erase the blank-faced stares on the subway as people go home. The parks lay empty like my unmade bed. The streets are silent like my lifeless telephone. And this is where I live, but I've never felt less at home. So I'm not unsympathetic. I see why you left. There's no one to know. There's nothing to do. The city's been dead since you've been gone.
I love the sound of this song. It's just so different. I mean, again, this album is just a celebration of musical diversity. I mean, there's so many different influences going on, like jazz and avant-garde and weird time signatures and all sorts of cool things. But anyway, on this song in particular, one of the lines really stood out to me when he says, "The parks lay empty like my unmade bed." So I like that line because I imagine the small town that he's talking about where there's nothing to do, there's nothing going on. You've got these, you know, these parks which are meant to provide entertainment for its citizens, which are meant to provide an outlet for experiencing nature, getting back to nature, right, for everyone in town. But nobody's using them, right? You've got all of these, it's like going to a hotel and they've got a gym and they've got a pool, but nobody ever uses them, right? But they're there, right? They're there if you want to use them. So like there's like a pretending going on, you know, there's like the appearance of things to do, but there's really nothing to do. And it's just a lifeless small town that he's trapped in, right? He feels totally trapped where he's living and he just wants to get out, right? He wants to be somewhere where there's a lot of people and there's actual things going on and there's probably a cool art scene or whatever. You know, I mean, for a musician, I'm assuming he's talking about himself here. For a musician to be trapped in a small town like that where, you know, just for one thing, you're not going to get discovered living in some random small town in America. You're not going to blow up, right? You got to live somewhere like Seattle or Los Angeles or Nashville or New York. If you're trying to be successful, especially back then, 1999. I mean, maybe nowadays it's different with Spotify or whatever in Bandcamp. But back then, you know, if you're trying to be a musician in some random town in America, it's not going to happen. So this poor guy, you know, he's looking around he's looking around at his town and he's just like totally uninspired and depressed. So this poor guy, I totally get it. But anyway, the last track I want to talk about is number 11, which is called 8.5 Minutes.
Something went off course and hit the moon instead. It was kind of pretty. Well, there hasn't been a whole lot of looting. On the other hand, oh, it's fucking freezing. Someone on TV said something about going underground. I guess we better start digging. What were you doing for those 8.5 minutes? What does it mean? Was it petty? Or did you realize you were sorry and that you love them? What were you doing for those 8.5 minutes? What does it mean? Was it cruel? Or did you realize you were sorry and that you love them?
Yeah, this is such a great thought experiment, right? The 8.5 minutes between pushing the nuclear missile button and everyone dying, right? If you knew you had 8.5 minutes left, what would you do? Would you do anything differently? Would you say how you really felt to those around you? Would you profess your love through a text, right? Or a Facebook message, because that's all you had? You know, hopefully you had their number. I mean, it's an interesting thought. I ask myself this question from time to time. You know, I mean, realistically, the real world scenario would be like you found out you had, you know, cancer and you're going to die in less than a year. That's the most realistic version of this, right? What would you do if you had a year left? And honestly, I have no idea, especially nowadays with COVID. I mean, you basically can't do anything. So like if you're living right now in 2021 and you found out you had cancer and you're going to die in a year, my God, would I be depressed? Because you're in COVID land. You can't go anywhere. You can't do anything. I mean, oh my God. So I imagine what I would do is I would probably profess my love for certain crushes I've had in town, which I won't allude to any of them in case they're watching. But anyway, I like this song. It's a very interesting sounding song. It's one of my favorites. But yeah, that's the last clip for you guys that I wanted to talk about. Again, it's a very impressive album. It's amazing just how diverse every song is. Unfortunately, as I mentioned earlier, it is kind of inconsistent. There are some weaker moments in songs, but in general, I would say it's a very solid album, and I do recommend it. I think you'll like it. But anyway, I hope you find it interesting. I hope I was somewhat interesting to listen to. Feel free to let me know in the comments whether you liked it or not. I'll check it out. And if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. It really helped me out. But yeah, that's the Dismemberment plan. Check them out and have a good one.